Okay, so we're gonna go over an ankle tape job right now. So this is probably one of the most common tape jobs that we'll do in athletic training and in the sports world. Okay, so I'm not gonna have you guys actually spray, but you would use something like this. It's a colorless tough skin spray, makes the skin sticky for the tape job. So I want you guys to fake it like you're actually spraying. When spraying this though, you don't have to paint it on really thick. It's just one simple layer. You keep close to the skin. The further you are away, the more spray you get all over the place, and that's not good for your clinic. So just keep it nice and close and light. Once you got that on, we put on something called a heel and lace pad. Basically a soft pad here. It's got some Vaseline essentially in the middle to keep it sticky, and you would place that on the top and bottom of the heel. So if you can see, this one goes right over the Achilles tendon to the top of the heel there. And the top one, I got it turned like a diamond shape. You can put it this way too, but I usually put it here for more coverage. And so what these are for is to prevent tape cuts from the tape cutting into the skin. It's for comfort for the patient. Okay, next. So as you can see, the patient is sitting in a comfortable position. You want the ankle, what we call dorsiflex, to 90 degrees, or as basically pull their toes up to their knee, okay? And they're gonna stay there the entire time as we tape, all right? Next thing we're gonna put is pre-wrap, okay? You don't have to always put this on all tape jobs. It's just one of those nice things that we do to prevent pulling of hairs, all right? So I usually start here. There's multiple ways to do this. You can find the way that you're most comfortable with, but point being, you wanna be nice and light. So I usually start at that mid ankle there, start to work my way down. Notice that I'm not overlapping by a lot. I'm keeping a thin layer here. You can go around the heel, okay? Come around the foot. Like I said, there's multiple ways to do this. As I come back up, I can start to spiral my way back up. I'm gonna have you scoot down a 1/4 inch. There we go. Now, how high do you wanna go? So the calf is here. Isaiah, I want you to flex your foot down. There you go, plantar flex, and you can see the calf muscle comes out here. You're gonna take 2 fingers, place it below the cut of the calf, and that is your ending point for your tape. So I suggest taking the pre-wrap just slightly higher than that point. Now notice that you can kind of see the skin through the pre-wrap here, and it's thicker in other parts. You don't want it so thick that you can't see through the pre-wrap. Okay, here we go. We're gonna go through this step by step just like in the lab, all right? So you're gonna put on 2 anchors at the top near the base of the calf. So your starting point is your ending point. You're gonna do something called half and half. See how that's half of the previous strip? There's your first 2 anchor strips. Then, this isn't in every tape job. We're gonna put 2 more at the foot, around the midfoot. Now these are anchor strips. They do not have to be tight. I simply rip and I lay them down as smoothly as possible, okay? There you go, there's our anchoring, there's our starting strips. Now, what we're gonna do is 2 stirrups. You guys have seen in baseball, the stirrups on a baseball player, where it's a strip on each side of their ankle and their calf. For most, probably over 80% of ankle injuries, the person inverts and they sprain their ankle like this. So we want to prevent that by pulling them into eversion with our tape job. So we're simply going to start here. We're going to come around, and I want to pull really hard right here. I actually want to pull his foot into eversion, okay? Notice I went around the fat pad of the heel and I didn't come through the midfoot. That's very important, okay? I'm gonna put 2 of these. Now the next one, I'm gonna fan it out a little bit up here so it's not directly overlapped with the previous one. But as I come around the heel, I do overlap with my previous strip. Come around, rip, pull again, adhere. Okay? Now, we're gonna move on to what we call C-strips. Basically, heel protector strips. Doesn't matter if you go in to out or out to in here, but we're going basically right above the heel and into the Achilles tendon. Once again, I'm going to do a half and half strip. Just like that. Okay? All right, now the figure eight. The figure eight is what it sounds like. It is an 8. So if you can imagine an 8 being placed on the ankle. So I got one circle here and one circle here meeting up in the middle. So you're going to start your 8 right in the middle of the diagonal. So I bring it right here. I come around the foot. There's the bottom circle. And I go around the ankle. And there's the top circle. Okay, see that? We're only going to do one of those, all right? Some tape jobs do multiple. Basically, this strip helps prevent a little bit of plantar flexion, dorsiflexion, excessive motion. It also helps with some inversion a little bit and eversion. It's simply a lock-in skin strip. Now, we're going to finish, we're not quite finished, but go on to our 2 heel locks. Now, the heel locks look a lot like the figure 8, so keep up here. I'm going to start a little bit higher. My figure 8, I started here. My heel lock, I'm going to start a little bit higher. Now here's my trick. The bottom line of the tape hits the top of the bump on the ankle, the malleolus. If you do this, you will never miss your ankle tape job. You come, hit the top of that bump, hit the top of the calcaneus, okay? Down, around the heel, under the foot, back to where you started or just below, rip, press. That is one of 4 heel locks that we're going to do. So that was 1 to the medial side. Now we're going to do 1 to the lateral side. Same rules apply. I start a little bit higher at a diagonal. I make the bottom line hit the top of that bump. I make the bottom line hit the top of this bump. I come down and around, underneath, back to where I started. There is 2 of the 4. Here we go. I'm going to do back to the other side. So notice I went back and forth. Same rules apply. Another way of looking at a heel lock is a teardrop. If you pay attention, it looks like a teardrop that gets wrapped around the ankle. You can see that it's simply a teardrop in 3D form. Okay? Now, so far, you can look and see a couple of holes here, right? But for the most part, they're pretty covered up. That's why we finished with close-up strips. And so essentially what we're going to do is we're going to close here, and we're going to work our strips up, changing the angle. So you're going to have downward arrows here, horizontal in the middle, and upward arrows at the top. You ready? Simply come across. There you go. Now these are closing strips. They don't have to be too heavy, too tight, but also not too loose. As I get to the middle of the ankle, my strips start to become horizontal. And as I work up the ankle, I start to become vertical, all the way to my finishing point of 2 finger widths below the cut of the calf. And voila, there is a taped ankle in one of 1,000 ways. But this is the way that I want you guys to do it for this class. Your job is to work on this every day. It takes about anywhere between 100 and 1,000 attempts to get it right. So just keep working on it. It does get better. If you have questions, let me know. Thank you.